One of the most important things you allowed me to do, I was able to fortunately grow my business from literally zero money to over $1 million in revenue. I watched you do it. And so that experience helped me really understand. Everything I know about business all came from the people I, surrounded myself around, people I learned from. And watching you do it just really helped me out a lot, man.
Thanks, man.
And I really appreciate that.
Dude, I appreciate you.
Yeah, we're about to meet up with Adam Lyons. Very dope guy, very dope entrepreneur, very dope influencer, man. Been in this game for a minute, working with him for a minute, man. And yeah, man, it's got some interesting stuff to say, man. Going to see how we can work with him, see what type of business we can work out. And yeah, man.
Let's do it.
Hi.
Rob Dial, you know him?
That name definitely rings a bell.
Travis is the guy behind him.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Hey, good to meet you.
Yeah, thanks, man.
So let me ask this question, because this is very important.
Sure.
You took a passion of yours, something that you really like, and then turned it into a business.
Yep.
All right. What the hell gave you the idea to do that, man?
So it's a good question. The game store was about saving it for my son. This was a passion project completely. I didn't want a game store. I mean, I did, but I wasn't looking for a game store, right? It fell in my lap and I took it. But I've spent the last 15 years building systems around business and learning how to make money from anything.
Yeah.
And I don't. There are people that like niche do it. So like I know how to make money in supplements, or I know how to make money on Amazon. I didn't want that. I wanted to know how business works, every business, from an influencer through to an accountant, through to somebody who's making miniatures and selling them. I want to know every piece. Like, dude, I've raised $2 million on Kickstarter because I wanted to learn how Kickstarter works. So I've done it in all these different areas. So I would argue at this point, there's not many businesses you couldn't put in front of me and I could know exactly what to do to make it build and make it grow. And the funny thing is, I always tell people, I'm not impressive when you look at my numbers, right? So like, I'll take a shop like this that's losing $1,000 a month and making like 4K a month. And then we picked it up over 1 month of hard work. Now it's doing 15, 16 grand a month. So when I tell people we make 15 grand a month, like, yo, my boy does $1 million a month. I'm like, yeah, probably does.
Yeah.
But you know what? That doesn't help 99% of business owners out there.
Plus, it's a brick and mortar.
Right. And during COVID.
Yeah.
You show me one other retail store that during COVID tripled in revenue.
I don't know any.
Yeah, and that's the point. But because for us, it's all processes and systems. So I can take anything and make it make good money. Yeah. But yeah, this store ain't gonna make billions anytime soon. You're not gonna see me sporting like big gold Rolex and be like, yo, look how much money my shop made.
Yeah, but minus 1,000 to what you're getting now is more than 10xing.
Yeah. And
that's, I think, the point that you should grab from that, because if you could take something and attach a multiplier to it in order to make money, the sky's the limit, man.
That's the key. And so I do that across, like, I've got 7 businesses. I do it across all of those. Yeah. And like it said, at this point, I'm doing so much mergers and acquisition stuff. And that's because people are seeing one of the fastest ways to grow is to buy out somebody who wants out. Yeah. But they've done 80% of the work. It's almost there. But there's this great image of these 2 dudes and they're digging for diamonds.
Yeah,
and one of them turns around just before. Yeah, you want to buy that guy's pickaxe. You're gonna be like, hey, yo, you using that? Can I have it? Like, yo, give me $50 for it or whatever. Like, and buy it cheap. And now you got 2 people going for the diamonds. Yeah, you got double chance, right? And it's just, there are some people that quit right at the end. And to me, that's what happened with the shop.
He's kind of a character, as you can see. You know, he's always happy. He's always gleeful. He's always joyful. So even in your failure, if you can appreciate the fact that you're trying and doing what you want, you are going to succeed more than the person that when they fail, they're not happy about it, they're down, then they're not going to try again because of that. So if you continue to try, continue to like put effort into it, and you're happy with your effort because you gave 100%, then you're going to always learn from it and use that experience to build something else. And I think other people will be able to see how he was able to do that. So, listen, man, I would say one of the things that I've always admired about it's like you never stop having ideas.
Thanks, man.
You know, you never stop having ideas, and then you take these ideas and you bring them into life, man. That kind of is like a story of probably either the most successful people or the people that fail the most is they have these ideas and they don't execute on them. Yeah. You have the ideas and you execute on them.
I'll tell you a time when I ran out of ideas though. Yeah. 3 years of my life, I had no ideas. And it was the day I stopped playing Dungeons and Dragons. I convinced myself that Dungeons and Dragons was taken away from my success.
So fantasy allowed you to imagine more things about your life.
Absolutely. Because like, for example, we're playing a big Dungeons and Dragons game. We play every Sunday night. I play, my girlfriend plays, my son plays, James plays. We have a whole group of people, our friends. We play Dungeons and Dragons. That game is we're playing during a pandemic in like Lord of the Rings time.
Yeah.
So it's what would happen if there was a bubonic plague, but we're all acting out and making decisions that are really important in that game. Now it's a game, it's not real, but how many fake scenarios on Facebook have you argued with somebody on? Well, we're playing it out and seeing the real world choices of doing that. We're seeing what happens when an authoritarian police state tries to take control to control the plague, and we're rolling out and seeing what happens. We're having people rise up against it and see what happens. In our game that we do every week, we've tried and tested countless situations, focusing on finding a cure versus focusing on controlling the population. And in doing so, we make better choices, smarter choices. And even though it's a game, you get ideas. Yeah. And those ideas then transport to the real world. So when a buddy of mine phoned me up and told me that he's got a personal protection company he's building for for masks and stuff, I had genuine ideas of ways he could market that. He's like, wow, these ideas are really good. I didn't want to tell him, yeah, well, when we were fighting the dragon last weekend, we realized the best way to do this was like that. And that's where the ideas come from, because we're constantly play testing scenarios.
Yeah, you know, it's pretty interesting because sometimes we always get into this idea that this stuff is just a waste of time, when really it does two things for you. It allows you to imagine more than what regular life is. So living a normal life, if you think about it, you don't really imagine too many things outside of that unless you get into some fantasy world, right? Where you start thinking of things that's outside of your own normal world. So that's number one. It gives you that idea to just like, you know what, let me kind of expand my thinking a little bit, right? And then number two, it gives you time for white space. Mm-hmm. You know, white space is very important because it's that time where you're not thinking about anything stressful, you're not thinking about anything important, but you have the freedom to just think about what do you like or nothing.
So
really.
I love what you say about white space. I call it stressless problem solving.
Yeah.
It's where you're playing a game, and in the game, the problem's really important, but it doesn't have any impact on your life.
Right.
So you're free to make a very cold decision that will be fun. But in doing so, with a game like any role-playing game like Dungeons and Dragons, where it's not a video game, but there are real humans interacting with each other.
Yeah.
You see how the real humans interact to that situation. And I've absolutely seen situations where one player is like, yo, everyone's gonna love this idea.
Yeah.
And they've convinced themselves it's a good idea. They release it and everyone else is like, no, that's terrible. They're like, I can't believe you guys didn't support me. Yeah. But if that was a real world situation, that's them spending months developing an idea, convinced it's gonna work, release it, and everyone's like, that sucks.
Right.
And they've wasted months of their life. Yeah. And so, that's really what, the game does. It lets you make those decisions. So because of the economy and where it's at right now, there's actually some really good opportunities if you're smart enough.
Yeah.
So all these people are all coming to this area. This will be, in about 10 years time, the Brooklyn of Austin.
You think so?
I know so. It's not even a question.
Wow.
Because there's a lot of big, powerful people who are all making it happen.
So what did you decide to become like an influencer? Like, because you becoming an influencer allowed you to have a greater impact. I always tell people greatness is impact.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now, it could be an impact on one person because you have a deeper impact on them, or it can be an impact on a lot of people. So both of them are greatness, but it's all about the impact that you have on people.
Yeah.
What made you want to become an influencer, and how did that change?
Because it's you, I'm going to tell you the truth. Yeah. The truth is there are a lot of people that were full of shit that had more followers than me.
Yeah,
and it was frustrating to watch a bunch of people that don't know what they're talking about rehash some bullshit when I knew exactly what I was doing.
People fake it to make it, man.
Yeah, exactly. And I knew exactly what I was doing and didn't have as many people. So it became a contest of I wanted the good information to get out there versus the bad information.
Well, let me tell you this. Having been a guy that's worked with most of the big people in the personal development space and stuff like that, and a lot of people that aren't so big, I can tell you like this: there's definitely a lot of people out there that they're all about the fluff. They're all about the numbers, and it's less about the impact. They're only in this space to make money. So there's a lot of people out there like that. So I definitely wouldn't allow any of that to bother you in the slightest, because at the end of the day, sure, these people may have more, I guess, glory, so to speak, but I think the impact, which kind of goes back to what I was saying about when you have on individuals' lives, can be deeper, can be more fruitful.
Thanks, man. Yeah, and that's exactly it. Like, one of the things I like is I'm independently wealthy from my influential space. Like, I definitely make money from being an influencer, but it's nowhere near what I make. Like, picking up the shop like that didn't come from my audience. I wasn't like reaching out to my own personal
audience. It came from your own ingenuity.
Exactly. From scratch, from the beginning. We can do that over and over again. And the money I make from that is as much as some of these other, I remember this one guy was like mouthing off at me. He was like, yo, show your bank balance. Like, how much did you make? He was like posting online. And he's like, yo, I make 1.1 million a year. You don't come close. And I was like, bro, I own 7 businesses. And I was like, I gotta do it. And I screenshot one of them that was bigger than his. I was like, just remember there's 7. And he was like, whatever. I was just like, don't flex like that. Like, you don't know what you're messing with. But I grew up with nothing, man. My mom was a stripper. My dad was a janitor. I ain't come from money. I built everything up from scratch. And it's funny, I think that people that came from nothing have this fear, I know I have it, and I assume everyone else has it, that it's all gonna go away tomorrow, and you gotta build it again.
I do have that fear, man.
Dude.
I don't, that's true.
Yeah,
I do have that fear, man, because I grew up in children's homes, man. Never met my dad. My mom was a drug addict, and I even went to prison for 3 years.
It's free rent.
And the thing is, I tell people, the bottom teaches people that the top never can.
Yep.
When you're at the bottom, there are things you're going to be learning that you just can't learn when you're at the top. I realized that some of the things that people stress about, when you're, homeless and you're just trying to survive, the only thing that matters is a shelter and having, something to eat. That's the only thing that matters. All these other things about, oh my gosh, I want to raise, or oh my gosh, there's nothing. Dude, doesn't matter where you come from, doesn't matter who you are. We are all born geniuses. We all have gifts that once we discover and bring that out, we can help shape the world for the better. And what Adam has shown here is he's taken his situation where he come from nothing, from England, moved to America and just built something dope. He just goes after his passions and his dreams, and it doesn't matter how many times he's failed. All it takes is one time to be successful. You know what I'm saying? And then you can repeat that process. So that's definitely what I learned from this particular thing. But there's a lot to glean from. But that definitely is the most powerful thing. It always resonates with me because those stories always invigorate me. It always gets me jazzed up, always gets me going. Yeah.